Amazing to go after so many incredible stories. So scar in and of itself. Well, when I think about scars, I think about being ripped open and rebuilt something strong, something that's a full part of myself. I'm a Pisces. Well, I'm really sensitive. But like, I don't see it as a bad thing. It's like, I see it as my awareness, but according to Dr. Gerber Mate, I just wasn't held enough as a child. So I think I was scarred by love, but I love love. I love in love. So whenever there's a breakup, it's like a really big deal to me. I'm like in crisis mode. I had this one boyfriend. He was like this young artist and fell in love and moved in together and moved to another city and broke up by our second anniversary. But he burst this bubble I had, this sort of suburban, sheltered, transfixed, and he introduced me to anarchy and anti-capitalism and the Ad Busted magazine and the Occupy movement. And I had this identity crisis, like of self-identity. So I decided to embark on this journey of self-discovery, to really find out myself. And I decided to conduct an experiment because I still need love. So I was like, I'm going to do online dating. And I'm going to see how honestly can I portray myself, like how do I know myself and what kind of people does that attract. So I'm really jazzed about the super revealing profile that I had. And I answered these questions that are like supposed to be private, and they're really like racy, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so honest. But these questions were depicted in a bar graph that I didn't know about. So I was really confused as to why I was getting all of these messages from like these stoners and perverts. I'm honestly portraying myself as a sex-crazed druggie. So what's the first thing I do once a decent guy comes along? I break the first rule of online dating. Like, you're supposed to meet them in a public place, preferably in a group. No, I'm like, come over to my apartment all by myself, alone, stranger. And so I'm frantically calling all my girlfriends, like, if you don't hear from me in an hour, like, I'm at this address, so that doesn't work. But then I found him. He was so perfect on paper, and we hit it off right away. We're like grooving to the same music. He's giving me all these recommendations, and he's like super gorgeous and geeky and like goofy and just like so good looking. And he became the focus of my fantasy. And I was just like, this guy is it. Like, he's gonna be my really reliable rock while I'm going through this self-discovery thing, and he's just gonna like help me through all of this. And the problem with putting all of that faith, with all of that pressure on another person, you put him on a pedestal, eventually it's gonna fall, and that's what it did. Things fell apart, and I was so heartbroken, and I felt betrayed, but this gaping wound that I have in my heart now, I realize I've been betraying myself. And I can look inside and see my inner goodness that was inside me all along. I was having this crisis of self-reliance. But I could feel now through this wound that this energy is just bounding out of me, and I'm connecting with everyone else around me, and I'm just at one with the earth and the dirt and the trees and the seas, and we're just in this connective tissue, in this web that we weave. And I just feel like we're all connected with the scars that we share.
Yeah.